Alrighty, so for this module's organoleptic testing, we're going to get going on here. We have 5 herbs to take care of today. Now what I have done, I made sure I put my hair back, wash my hands, clean my area. I like to use 4 thieves vinegar to disinfect everything off and make sure everything is good. I took care of making up my little tea bags, putting them in. Now the 2 that were the herb, the blessed thistle and the California poppy, I prepared them as teas with the 1 ounce to 1 pint ratio. Put boiling water on top of that, let that steep. I let mine steep for 10 minutes, cover it up, and let it go ready to go. For the cinnamon bark, the couch grass root, and the eleuthero root, I went on ahead and did the decoction, which again is 1 ounce to 1 pint. But with that, you add your material to the cold water, bring that to a boil, let it boil till some of your water evaporates down, and then cool and strain that down. So I have those all ready to go here. Those of you that have seen my testings before also know that I keep little pieces of crackers between me so that I can distinguish out the different tastes in there. And let's get started on this. So first we're going to start with the organic blessed thistle herb, which is Nicus benedictus. The family is Asteraceae or Compositae. It is antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral, anti-cancer, anti-tumor. Do not use while pregnant or breastfeeding, and use with caution when peptic ulcers are present. Avoid if you have a known allergy to blessed thistle or anything in the Asteraceae or Compositae family. It may interfere with antacids, sucralfate, H2 antagonists, or proton pump inhibitors due to the stimulating of the stomach acid that it produces. Now, Canada does require pre-marketing authorization. For dosing, you can do it with a tea with the dried flowering tops, 1 cup, 3 times a day, or a liquid extract and 25% alcohol with a 1-to-1 ratio. You can do 1.5 to 3 milliliters 3 times daily. And there is no typical topical dosage for blessed thistle. And whenever I pull out and just open this, it gives me just a typical straw or hay type smell, very fresh. It's kind of a, a sagey green, but got some of those goldens in there too. You can definitely tell that it is the herb and not the plants or the roots. It does have, seem to have some of those harder, like stalk pieces. I think I found one there. In there too. But as a general rule, I think this is probably a very good herb to work with without having to do a lot more of breaking down. Now, the color of the tea is just like a very pale golden tan to yellow. And again, it's just really kind of like a fresh scent is the best way that I can describe this. Ooh. It's got some bitters to it, though. I don't do well with bitters, if y'all have seen me do this before. Ooh. I'm not really getting that. I'm not getting that dryness on the tongue or anything. It's almost like at the end, whenever I swallow, that those bitters are coming in. So this would definitely need to have something mixed with it. If you were, using it alone, I just don't know. I could see some peppermint maybe blending in really well with that to help get rid of that. Maybe even some licorice root to give it a little bit of sweetness. But that was kind of, the smell didn't give me any smell that it would be bitters going on there. So let's get on to, oh, that taste is horrible. I am so sorry. I am not into that blessed thistle. Me and bitters do not get along. I'm trying so hard, but oh, I was not expecting that. So our next one is the organic California poppy herb, which is Escholzia californica. Family is the Papaveraceae. And it's analgesic, anodyne, diuretic, soporific, and spasmolytic qualities. Helps with insomnia, sedation, aches, nervous agitation, and neurosis in children, which means nighttime incontinence, diseases of the bladder and liver. It's used with other herbs for depression, neurasthenia, neuropathy, various psychiatric conditions, also for feign illness, which is a sleep and mood disorder associated with the strong warm winds in the Alps. It has been used for vasomotor dysfunction, along with those other herbs, as well as weather change sensitivity, sedation, and used with black pepper for ague, jaundice, or skin problems. Now, this weather change sensitivity, I want to mention here while I've got this going on that California poppy is one of the plants that I use to help me work through to where I got my fibromyalgia manageable again. And yes, on those days that the weather was changing and the rain was worse or the snows came in, whichever type, even if it was cold and warm came in, I was unable to hardly move. California poppy really helped ease that and was able to help me get some sleep, relaxed my muscles, and now knowing it's got some anodyne qualities, I know that it was also doing some of that pain relieving. Now, for this, it may bind with the same receptors as monoamine oxidase, or the MAO inhibitors, and selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So you want to use with caution in patients that are already on those types of things. And if you use this with other sedative herbs, it could intensify the effect of therapeutics and adverse reactions. So it could intensify everything that it does. If you're getting a little sleepy, it could make you extremely sleepy. It's not for pregnant or nursing, and that is because there's a lack of data. And you can have 1 cup of tea up to 4 times daily, or 1 to 2 mils daily in a liquid extract. Now, I have had California poppy in the past, so I know that it's not my favorite, but it's not my worst either. So again, this has a bit more of a darkish color to it. Again, I just get a very fresh smell. Also, almost a, I don't even know, almost maybe like a dried cut grass smell. And to that, it tastes almost floral to me. Very, very small undertones of the florals in there. Yeah. So I think this would be, somebody could definitely be able to use this on their own. I could see it being used in a tincture as well. I could see this being mixed, and I know I said peppermint for the last one too, but some peppermint, some Mentha expectorata, California poppy, the Eschscholzia californica, and maybe even like a little bit of wild lettuce. I can't remember that scientific name off the top of my head. I'm just winging this one right now. I think that would be very good for somebody who maybe is having a fibro attack. Definitely help take care of things. Now, our next one is our cinnamon bark chips, which is Cinnamomum burmannii. It is part of the Lauraceae family. It is antibacterial, antiviral, anti-tumor, anti-cancer, and it is useful for premature ejaculation. It is generally recognized as safe as a food additive. Long-term can lower the platelet count significantly, and it may alter cardiovascular function, may cause contact dermatitis, may slow heart rate or lower blood pressure. Use with caution for high or low blood pressure and in congestive heart failure. The dosage is 1 cup 3 times a day as a tea, or a 1:1 70% alcohol liquid extract at 0.5 to 1 milliliters 3 times daily. It is not recommended for topical use, and it's not recommended that you exceed 6 weeks of treatment. The maximum suggested dose is 2 to 4 grams of the bark, or 0.05 to 0.2 grams, or 1 to 4 drops of essential oil daily. Now, cinnamon, we even refer to kind of cinnamon as a type of a color because it's like that orangish tan color. It has a wonderful aroma. It's a cinnamon aroma. It is a spice. It's kind of hard because it is that woody bark, and whenever we get it in our sticks, you can see where the bark just rolls around itself. Cinnamon is great. Great to use to help add some flavor to some of your different things, because it seems to be something that pushes stimulating through. I would think that we could also use this as a support herb in another formula. The color is like a slightly reddish brown as opposed to your golden browns on this. And again, you can just smell the cinnamon in the tea. You know, I like cinnamon. It really, and it brings back memories for me. So this also is bringing back good thoughts of both of my grandparents. You know, one made the apple pie with the cinnamon, and the other one French toast. So this really even brings me back. So I think that this could also be used for people that are healing past traumas as well, if they have a kind association with cinnamon. Oh, and I just love cinnamon tea. Okay, the classic cinnamon taste. It does leave a little flatness on the tongue, like almost like a small coating. But you know, I've gotten really used to it, and I drink a lot of the cinnamon tea. I like adding licorice root to it. I like adding the astragalus root to it, which is a formula that I found here at the school last semester. It kind of perks me up. I think it's just a very good plant to for everything, you know. Even when we mix it with the cinnamon and sugar, sugar's not good with us, but you know, put on that toast for them kids and see if we can't help get them used to it. Now let's go into this next one. We have got organic couchgrass root, which is Elamus repens. It is in the Poaceae or the Gramineae family. It's anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial. It could be useful for digestive muscle spasms and bladder and urinary system spasms, and it has been used for UTIs in the past. Don't use it if you have a known allergy to couchgrass, its constituents, or its family. The inulin could trigger an allergic reaction in some individuals, including throat swelling, nasal itching, coughing, and or difficulty breathing. Some people may experience atopic dermatitis. Avoid during pregnancy or breastfeeding, and that is because of a lack of data again. It is, though, generally recognized as safe. At 4 to 8 grams of dried rhizome as a decoction 3 times a day. A 1-to-1, 25% alcohol extract at 4 to 8 milliliters 3 times daily. And you do not use long-term, as it can cause some hypokalemia. Now this couchgrass root, which it was quite surprising whenever I seen it earlier, because I guess I wasn't expecting it to be such big chunks. But I kind of like that smell. The aroma is like a, oh, I can't even think of what. It's almost like cutting out some fresh, I don't even want to say like the peppers, but there's, I mean, it's got a very familiar aroma, and I can't figure out what it is. Now, as for the root, I mean, we have everything from your browns to your yellows, but inside of that root, that's where I see, and it is your standard, what I'm going to call your standard off-white root color. And I'm curious to see if it tastes like it smells. My goodness, I hope I don't get surprised again here. Let's see. Now, this one has very little color to it. Just a pale yellow is all that we've got going on here. I'm not detecting any other aroma in the drink, or in the tea, or actually decoction itself either. Actually, that's not so bad. It really doesn't have much flavor at all. It's more on that swallow that I catch a little bit of a very, very light, just an herbal taste. I am not tasting much of that at all. Now, let's get on to our last one here, which is our organic eleuthero root, Eleutherococcus syncoccus. The family is Araliaceae, And this is also known as Siberian ginseng. Now, it is a stimulant, a diuretic, an appetite stimulant, anti-cancer, antioxidant, an immune system stimulant, an adaptogen. It normalizes blood pressure. It helps treat arterial sclerosis, pyelonephritis, cranial cerebral trauma, rheumatic heart disease, neurosis, insomnia, Alzheimer's, ADHD, chronic fatigue syndrome, diabetes, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, influenza, chronic bronchitis, tuberculosis, reduces toxicity of chemotherapy, helps with herpes simplex 2 symptoms, and for sport performance, increases work. It improves sport performance and increases work capacity. So I can see this being very, very helpful, even for myself there. So now, it is often misidentified or altered. The dosage is 2 to 3 grams of a tea infusion daily, or the equivalent of the extract. For herpes simplex 2, you need 400 milligrams daily of the eleuthero standardized extract that contains the eleutheroside E at 0.3%. It is generally safe for short-term use up to 3 months. The contradictions are, you do not want to use this if you got some high blood pressure, and it can cause palpitations, tachycardia, and hypertension. Use with caution if you have any known cardiovascular disorders, such as arterial sclerosis and rheumatic heart disease, which I thought that's interesting that it's used for treat those, but you want to use it for caution. So it makes me wonder if this needs to be a support herb in those areas, or if it could be a main herb as long as you watch the symptoms. It does have estrogenic effects, so you want to stay away. Keep this away from women who have hormone-related issues like a breast or uterine cancer, ovarian cancer, endometriosis, or uterine fibroids. It may worsen hypertension, myocardial infarction, psychiatric conditions such as hysteria, mania, and schizophrenia. Do not use on pregnant or breastfeeding, and long-term use can actually inflame the nerves. So let's get back to where let's not use this for more than 3 months. No herbs or supplements that affect the platelet aggression should be used, as it may increase the risk of bleeding with this particular plant. Do not use with drugs or herbs because hypoglycemia that have a hypoglycemic effect, and do not use with herbs that have a sedating effect. So we would not want to use this in combination with our California poppy, because we got cautions on both of those. Now again, I don't see much change of color, maybe kind of champagne color, maybe. Just a very, very low undertone of like a barky or a woody type. It has some flavor. It's not necessarily bad. It's not necessarily good. It kind of reminds me of astragalus root, honestly. It doesn't leave like any weird feelings on my tongue or anything, which I am very, very glad for that. Now, there was something I did notice about this eleuthero root, is that it was so soft compared to a lot of the other roots that we have. But it's just, I mean, like a very pale, just a pale creamy color with some darker colors in there, which I wonder if it just might have been the leaves that are in there. So yeah, that's it. That is our organoleptic testing for this module. Thank you.